mortgage-backed securities, which is the investment bank side of the business. Okay? You don't even have a mortgage with Iskandar, or you don't even get a benefit from this product. Suddenly, the bank went bankrupt. You don't get your deposit. I'm a retail banker, right? I was only protected by up to 50,000. Depending, in Malaysia it's 50,000, right? Yeah. Which means that if the company went bankrupt, the government will pay you 50,000. The rest we have to sell the bank assets and see whether you get it or not. Okay. It depends on the regulation. So Dodd-Frank is like that. So that's why the banks, the stocks went up significantly. You know why? Because now they can actually spend more on the investment bank. You know what? Your retail deposit means nothing, means a lot to the bank, but really don't really generate a lot of profitability. You know why? You give a deposit, how much they charge you? I don't know, 50 bits? Let's say okay, 50 bits in Malaysia. 50 bits is 0.5%. Okay, you get rated every year end. You 10,000, you get 10,050 pounds, let's say. Right. But they lend it to your friend who wants to buy a house somewhere in York. Mortgage rate is 2%. That difference, 1.5%, goes to the company, goes to the bank. Okay, that is it. It's a simple bank business, right? But if I channel your deposit to fund investment bank, Goldman Sachs actually charge 1 MDB 10%. And it's just 3 months project. You see, that is where the money is. That is a very simple product. They can come up with a fancy product and charge you 15 bits. Not 15 bits, 50%. So that is the money. So that's why people are suddenly optimistic about the potential of earnings for banks because of Trump. Okay. So that is fiscal policy. Monetary policy is very important. You know why? Not just it determines the economy, because it determines the cost of money. It can actually affect inflation. If you have 3% inflation, your money means nothing a year ago when inflation is 0.5. You know what I mean? The value has deteriorated significantly because you can only buy a can of sardine instead of salmon with that £3 that you have, for example. So it affects the cost of capital. And because of that, when you value a stock, it also affects your valuation. Risk-free rate is determined as a function of monetary policy. And risk-free rate is a critical element within your discounted cash flow, or PE, for example. Some people ask me, it's ridiculous, S&P 500 is currently trading at 16.5 times, which is equivalent to 5-year historical average. People are still buying. I said, take it like this. 10 years ago, interest rate is 2.5%. Currently, it is 0.5%. So 16 times PE then means very expensive compared to 16 times PE now, because the price means nothing. It's so cheap, the cost of your capital. That's my point. Okay, of course I'm not popular, but thankfully I'm not. They don't ask me to be at CNN. But anyway, that's very important. Move on. I think you want to get better data. Okay, now let's go to the sexy bit, which is a company. So you need to look at the top line, which is the sales. You need to look at the bottom line. How to get to the bottom line. It can determine your profitability, how efficient the company is run, how efficient the company manage the cost structure. And at the end of the day, you look at the pricing strategy, because at the end of the day, it's a function of volume and price. Hence, you get revenue, right? You buy, you have fantastic revenue there. 2 years ago, your cost of producing that rubbery is £100, charge 150, now it's 200. Cost remains the same. Your profitability has increased. You just price it differently, because even if I price it 200, this gentleman will buy the sweater. Okay. So you need to know the pricing strategy. We talked about Ferragamo just now. Sometimes you have to look at the asset side. Patents means a lot, which will significantly affect your book value. You have to look at the organizational performance, how efficient the management utilize the resources that they have, how well they spend their capex. I mean, do they actually spend on the right project that bears future earnings? I give an example. Petronas cut the capex plan to 25 million from 50 million for the next 5 years. But one of the projects that they don't cut, I mean, it's still within that 25 million allocated, is a rapid project in Pengerang. Because why? Limited resources, but I think if I spend on rapid, it will contribute significant to my earnings. I would rather spend less in Sudan, in foreign soil. You know what I mean? So you've got to, if the company is doing very well, that means the management is doing a very good job. Okay? So that determines the management quality, very important. Okay, this is just a sample of it. I will going to talk a little bit deeper in the next slide. Okay, move on. Okay. Now, so you look at the top down, you look at the company's structure, the company's earnings, company's profitability, but how do you gauge your story? Okay, to me, numbers don't lie. The problem with numbers is that it can mean anything. They can mean anything. You know, I'll give an example. Do you know Enron? Okay, interesting, right? Enron is a very profitable company, one of the best energy oil company, and they even have one of the best accounting companies and distribution there. But growth is powering through, double digit. But why the company went bust? Because if you just look at one number, it looks good. But if you look at a number and receivable, which continue to balloon up, cash flow is depleting. That means it's just a paper number. Okay. I'm going to give you an example. You sell this shirt. I got a bulk order, which actually, I can cancel. Okay, for the next 6 months. I placed 200 million, buy this sweater. Okay, you record 200 million revenue now, but suddenly I cancel. How will you justify that? It doesn't tally with your cash flow. Cash flow wouldn't lie, because cash flow will tell you how much money you get now, how much people have paid now. So you have to look numbers together as a set. So I give you an example, 5 things that you have to look. I mean, they are extensive, but you need to look at 5 things. The liquidity of the company, the debt of the company, the profitability of the company, the efficiency of the company, how well the management runs the company, and some of the factors that are put in there. Okay, for example, liquidity. Current ratio, okay, is how liquid the company is in terms of current assets to finance the current liabilities. More than 1 times means you have more current asset and current liabilities, what you owe to other people. That's good, right? And if it's actually supported by the debt structure, debt to equity, which is relatively low, which means that you don't have much debt, that's even better. It's even better if the company has growing profit margin, increasing profit margin. That means not just the company is liquid, not just the company doesn't pile up debt to finance their operating expenditure or their capex, but they actually also improve their profitability and efficiency. With £1 spent on capex, they generate more than 2 times, let's say. Okay, and if it will be reflected in asset turnover, which means that how much asset can be turned into revenue, okay, which is your sales. And if it's supported by dividend payout, that's even better. You see, how you actually look at the numbers together. It's like a storyline. The idea is that this company generates growing profitability at a cheaper, with sufficient liquidity, and with minimal risk to the balance sheet, and translate that profitability by giving more dividends to you as an owner. It's like a story, right? Let's move on. Wow. Okay. Now, people ask me, there's so much numbers. Okay, so many numbers. Which number that I can focus on as a starting ground? A lot of investors look at this number to screen the stocks. You know why this number? There's one guy called DuPont. He come up with the DuPont analysis. You look at ROE. We didn't know about DuPont analysis. We just know ROE, your return over your equity, which means that you give an equity, right? You buy the company, right? So you are the equity holder. This is your cost. This is how much profit you get. So your return. So return over equity. Okay? And this guy actually, hey, I'm going to break this. I do have so much free time on my Saturday. Break this. What? Realize that what is the function of return? Right? Function of return is your net profit, right? Net profit net profit is derived over sales and times sales over asset. I mean, if you notice that, at the end of the day, it's net profit over equity. I'm just going to cut it short, you know. Do you understand maths there? You understand equity? You got it, right? Okay. So sales, okay, minus that, okay, you get that. So the problem is, if you dissect this into three, you get these three key ratios. One ratio can be broken into three, which is net profit margin, your asset turnover, and finally, okay, equity kicker or financial leverage. Financial leverage is how much total assets over equity. Yeah. So how much actually your equity kicker, your equity can actually generate how much sales in proportion. Okay. So in essence, what do you get out of this one ratio? You get how well the company runs the company, how efficient it is, which is reflected to your asset turnover. Second, the cost management, hence the profitability, the profit margin. And finally, how well the debt structure, the capital structure of the company. Which means that the sales, the profits, is not funded by debt so much. Okay. So ROE is a very good ratio to get a simplification of what the company is doing. This is what I said. You need to look at ratios. You need to look at numbers side by side. In other words, these are three numbers combined into one story, which is your return on equity. Okay. So I just give you some flavor, but if you have questions, you can ask. It's supposed to be very basic introduction. Now, so you know the company is well. You know the company is good, business is good, economy is good, company is good. Ratio shows that the company is healthy financially. But how much does it work? Okay, you are buying for value. You think that you buy a company that is not well captured in terms of price. So there are various ways to actually value a company. Okay, so if the company, okay, I call it intrinsic value. Or, intrinsic value means what the company is worth according to you. What is the fair value? What is the target price? If it's below the market price, it's overpriced. Don't buy. If it's above the current price, it is undervalued by the market. So you should buy. It's a bargain. Okay? There are three types of valuation methods how to value a company. One is absolute valuation, which means that it's absolute. You don't look at any other things but the company itself. What is your worth? But some people say that your worth value is relative to others. You might be rich, you thought, but actually there are other people richer, so you are not really that rich. So we look at the relative valuation. Relative, your value, worth, is actually determined by, it's a function of relativity. And the last one is asset-based valuation. Asset-based is just you value the asset, strip it out, that's the value of the company. I'm not going to touch on asset base because nobody really looks at that apart from liquidator. So there are two types of absolute valuation. As I said just now, share price is a distillation of future earnings. And what you buy is actually a subset of that earnings, i.e. the dividends. You just want to get the dividend out of it. So what you do is you look at how much dividend that will be paid by the company over a certain period of time according to your investment horizon and discount it to get the present value of that dividend. Discounted dividend model. I was told that you're supposed to actually have a financial analysis after my talk, hence I don't actually create a slide on that. There is a function of it. You can do Excel about it. It's not difficult, actually, to be honest. But sometimes they just put a little bit jargon and make it difficult to justify £10,000 salary a month. I'm talking about research analysts, not research analysts. Okay, so that's the idea of it. Another one is free cash flow. Because you pay dividend out of the cash flow as well. So some people say that some company might not decide to pay dividend. The technology company. You know about Apple? Hedge fund was so angry with Apple because why? You know how many cash they have? It's more than 1 billion. 50 billion. Not ringgit, but US dollar. So it is that much, but yet you decide not to actually give the dividend. It doesn't mean that the company is not worth doesn't have any value, right? So you look at the cash flow. Maybe the company will decide to give a bumpy dividend at the end of your investment time. Wow, well, you get all that 50 million to yourself, a fraction of your ownership. That's it. So you look at the cash flow model. It's the same thing. You just look at the free cash flow, which means that solid cash after you finance your capex from your operating income, blah blah blah. You get that free cash flow for a certain period of time according to your investment horizons, and then discount it to the present value of future cash flow. It's the same concept. It's just that some companies do not have dividends and to use DCF. A lot of people use DCF, discounted cash flow model, to value a company because to avoid that growth is not translated into real cash. Cash is king. Remember I talked about Enron? You have a fantastic bumpy top line growth but not translated into real money that will pay people's wages or whatever that is. So to avoid that mistake, they look at discounted cash flow. Okay, relative valuation is very simple. What is your value of the company? It's relative to others. Let's say you buy because of earnings. So PE, price over earnings. Do you know that? Do you know what PE is? I'll just give an example. Okay, PE is the current price over earnings per share. Earnings per share is your profitability, and share is what is the size of the ownership. Okay, so you get the PE. So if you get a PE financial year 1, that means that current price relative to next year earnings. Okay, FY2 current price relative to 2018 earnings. You know what I mean? So you buy that. I give, for example, PE of 10 times, which means that the current price is actually 10 times of the earnings next year. Okay. So what does it tell you? Okay. Obviously, 9 times PE means it's cheaper than 10 times PE, which means that the current share price is worth 9 times of it. So you want the smaller number as possible, but that doesn't mean anything. Precisely. You know what? There's a concept we call a value trap. Okay, value trap. You know what? I'll give an example. Standard Chartered. You know what is the PE of Standard Chartered? 6 times of the current earnings. You know what is the price to book of Standard Chartered? Price to book means the current price over the total assets per share. Book value per share is 0.5, which means that if you buy now, if I sell the company, I get 2 times return. You know, 0.5, which means that my current price is only 0.5 to the total asset value of the company. But people are still not buying the company. You know what? We call it a concept of value trap. There is a cheap for a reason. There's a reason why Primark is cheap. Right? The quality, it should be. Price is a reflection of the quality. So why these companies are cheap, it could be, let's say, from price to book that point of view of Standard Chartered, because I cannot value the book. There is so much speculation. You value the books, right? The book, the assets of the bank is the loan, the deposit. You do not know. They have huge loans given to energy company. This company can go bust, and my loan means nothing. I don't get that loans back. They wouldn't be able to pay my loan. You know, so that's when you discount it. There's too much risk to that. For example, from price to book point of view. Price to earnings, maybe because the company, in this case Standard Chartered, will not be able to sustain its historical performance. They just cannot create that much top line and bottom line growth. Why? Because they are scaling down. Their cost to income ratio is very high. Their book value is deteriorating, i.e. the asset impairment as well as the asset quality is deteriorating. And I say asset quality is the ability for them to recover their loan book. What they do, they downsize. They sell their operations. They're about to sell Malaysian operation too. So these are critical growth market. They just downsize. Instead of they're looking for sales growth, they just want to protect their profitability, their margin. So you don't be able to get the earnings as bumpy as before. So that's why it's cheap. You see, it's a value trap. Value trap, if I put it, there is a reason why it's cheap. You think, yeah? I mean, market is not, yeah. So that is a PE, multiple, share price multiple. So if you want to know how cheap is cheap, you look at relative. Relative to what? Not to on its own, but relative to your peers. Standard Chartered PE is 6 times. Maybank is 8 times, so Maybank is more expensive. Simple as such. But it's not apple-to-apple comparison. So I list out some of the pros and cons of this valuation on the side. So I'm not going to touch it. You know, you look at it, easily understood, but difficulty in selecting your peer. I can't compare his value according to you, right? Because okay, I do not want that. It sounds personal. Let's say Mark and Spencer. I cannot value a company Mark and Spencer relative to Primark. It's different business model. It's the same business. It's consumer, it's retailers, but they have a different price point, different market. Okay, I cannot compare Maybank to Standard Chartered. Maybank's operation is not global. But if I compare Maybank with CIMB, it could be worth comparing. You know what I mean? So you need to get the apple-to-apple comparison. Then you know what is the relative value of the company to its sector, or to its peers, or to its market. Okay. So another form which I think is very widely used by the investment banker is enterprise value to EBITDA. You know, enterprise value is the value of the company. There is a mathematical formula that you can derive the enterprise value, but it's used by the